Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. I think this is the 8th video in my backyard plant propagation series for 2018. In this video, in order to not just be monotonous every week, I've kind of walked through the garden center this morning with the camera and just showed what I'm looking for when I think something is ready to take cuttings on. And I just went through several different things you'll see in a minute. I just went through and just kept walking and showed how I would propagate many different things as I was walking across. Any of those things would then get, dipped in the dip and grow, prepped the way we always prep them, and then go in the tray and then go into the house. Exactly the same as what you've seen in the other videos, but I wanted to knock out quite a few plants at one time, and it's just the same thing. You're constantly looking for semi-hardwood cuttings where not the newest growth and not the old growth, but somewhere right in the middle before the green stems make that transition into old wood. I've pulled out this tray of Lantana that we did a few weeks ago now. The majority of these are rooting, and I wanted to show you a little bit of maintenance that needs to be done on these trays during the season. So everything I put in the box last week still looks great. It'll be a couple weeks. One thing I wanted to point out is I put the holes in this box on the side. Do not put them in the top. Very, very important, because any water that drips on there will fall into those holes and water those spots inside of the box. They'll actually overwater them. So make sure you're putting the holes in the side so you're not getting additional water in there. I left the top off the box a few days ago and sprayed some water under there, so I've had to water it once in a week. And then over here, this azalea flat is in there and looks terrific. I am about to fill this entire house. Before you see my next video, I will have gone through the things that I'm showing you from the garden center and filled a bunch of flats and gotten this thing filled up just to avoid some monotony here. And then from then on, we'll just be planting and monitoring the things that are in here. And we're at the peak time. It's mid-July. Everything is hardened off just perfect right now. Okay, this is something we need to be looking for here in your cuttings. We want to come in and take out any leaves that are dropping off, okay? For several reasons. One, that leaf laying right there will hold moisture in place. It'll keep that area too wet. It also invites disease and other pests into your greenhouse. So go through occasionally and just clean up. You'll lose cuttings. I mean, you're going to lose a few. You're not going to root 100% typically, but make sure you're going through and cleaning them up. Like I say, most of these are rooted. They're not quite holding together though. You see how that wants to fall apart? It's definitely rooted. It's pulling up the soil, but it's falling apart as it does. So I need to get it rooted in there just a little more, but I am pulling it out of the house. I'm just gonna put it under my deck for a day or two, and then I'm gonna move it out in some sun for a day or two, and then next week we're gonna get these planted. So here's a walk around over at the garden center so you can see what I'm looking for as I'm on all kinds of different plants. So let's start with this tropical hibiscus, because I want to show you how similar all of these things are. This growth that's right up here at the top, it will definitely root most of these tropical plants like hibiscus and gardenias. A lot of these plants root easy on any type of wood, but right down here where it starts to change color, that older wood down there would definitely root much slower. This tender growth I tend to be a little scared of, because it doesn't give you any room for errors. So I come right in here between the two and cut it at that spot. Okay, so there's the piece I just cut off. Like I say, I want to get rid of the newest growth right there, just like that. And I'm easily going to get 2 cuttings out of this. If I go right to here, right above this leaf right here, and cut, and if I take this piece off there, that gives me a wound right there where I just pulled that leaf off. I dip that in the dip and grow, put it in the flat. That'll root very, very quickly. Same thing on this one. All I have to do is pull. I'm going to pull both these bottom 2 leaves off right there. Makes the wound right there where I pulled that off. That's where it's going to callus and root. And that's an absolutely perfect cutting. So here's a Needlepoint Holly, all right? Same exact thing. The growth up here, right there, is too tender. Right down here where it joins the stem is absolutely perfect. Okay, I cut it right there. We'll strip these bottom 3 leaves off or so, and that's a perfect cutting. We'll dip that in the dip and grow, and that'll root very, very quickly. It's that's about the perfect amount of bending we want to see out of this. Here's some blueberries here, and blueberries give you just a ton of cuttings off a single branch. This one, you know, right up here at the top, like I say, I'm always going to take that off, but going down this stem, I can probably get 5 or 6 cuttings perhaps. I'll just cut it off down here where it joins the main branch, and this wood has not hardened off so much that I can't still root all of these about equally as fast. But if we just take the bottom leaf or 2 off and then cut this one right here, there's 1. Take those 2 off right there, maybe 3, and I cut it right there. There's 2, and I'll cut it right there. Take that second leaf off. Actually, I'll take that top leaf off since I damaged it. But there you go, there's 3 right there, and I can just continue going on this branch. Blueberries will yield lots and lots of cuttings. I can take 1 or 2 blueberries and make several flats out of them. So here's the sky pencil holly, and it's going to be similar to any other holly. I'm going to take that most tender growth off the top, and anything on this shoot that's green before it starts to make that transition, all that growth is from this year, and I can get about 3 cuttings out of that, no problem whatsoever. About 4 inches long, leave about 2 leaves on each of them, and put them in the dip and grow and put them in the house. Here's a great example of a crepe myrtle. On crepe myrtles, we're going to take the flowers off, and then again, we can just go down this stem, trace this stem back until the stem color starts to change, which is right there. So we would just take this piece off right there, and we'll cut about 4-inch pieces out of this, leave 1 or 2 leaves on them, definitely taking the flowers off. They'll look just like any other cuttings we've taken this season. This is an Abelia here. Abelia are flowering shrubs that flower most of the summer. They've become very, very popular. They're great for pollinators. This red stem that's right here is this year's growth. So all we do on an Abelia is take the flowers off the top, just like that, trace that stem down to where the color changes for last year's growth, and we would probably get 2 cuttings because it's right there. And so I'll cut that one right in the middle again, and we'll get 2 cuttings to strip those bottom leaves off. This is a blue Pacific juniper, and I pretty much do these exactly like I do the leafy evergreens. You guys have not seen me root many conifers yet, but it's exactly the same. This is a great example of it here, where I've got very, very new tender growth out here, and then I've got a transition right in there, and then the old wood is back in here. And actually with these conifers, you can root pretty much anything, just like on the other plants. You just have to, you definitely want to treat this old growth cuttings differently than you would treat the new growth cuttings. These would take a long time to root. They definitely would root. And of course, like I say, you just don't get any forgiveness whatsoever on taking super, super tender tip growth like that. So I come in here right where that color change is, just like I do on any of the other leafy plants. And nice thing about conifers is when you strip away the side limbs, it gives you the spots where the wound, the wound is right there. That's where the roots are going to initiate. You're going to get a little club foot there over time as it calluses, and we'll take off the most tender growth from the top of that right there. And I might take off 1 more piece and just clean this stem up just like that. And I really don't need probably quite this much material on top of it, but there, I'll take it down even more like that. But that right there will definitely root, and where I stripped away the other branches right there, that is where this thing's going to callus and initiate roots from. But we'll dip that into dip and grow, same exact thing. But this is a blue Pacific juniper. So you can see conifers, I'm even looking for the same thing. I'm looking for that transition between the new growth and the old growth. Next week, we'll be planting some of these lantana into 1-gallon pots. I'm rushing this a little bit. Some of these are definitely not rooted. If I waited a couple more weeks, I'd probably have near 100%. I don't think I've lost one in this tray, but as it stands now, I'm probably going to end up with about 30, which is fine. I'm just doing this for a demonstration to show you how to do it and how to get them potted up and that kind of thing. And I want to do it sooner than later, so you have the information before your cuttings get rooted in. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you next week to start planting.